Alright, welcome back boys and girls to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Draft Series Fusion. In the third round, in our next feature match, we have John versus Marco. Let's see what these boys have in store for us. And I think we're going to see Marco start this off with the Berry Magician Girl. Alright, so when this card is normal summoned, you can add one Magician Girl monster from your deck to your hand. Now, once per turn, during either player's turn, when your opponent activates a card or effect that targets this card, or targets this card for an attack, you can change this card's battle position. And if you do, special summon one Magician Girl monster from the deck, except Berry Magician Girl. Wow, but Marco isn't done. Senko the Skybolt Star activates in the hand. So, if a monster is normal or special summoned to the field, you can special summon this card from your hand. Now that's a big boy, 2400, alongside a Berry Magician Girl. Very nice. So it does look like Marco's going to be adding the Chocolate Magician Girl. Whoa, would you look at that? Definitely looks like Marco has the babes on his side here. Okay, it looks like he's going to set one more in the back row and pass it over to John. Okay, let's see how John maneuvers this game. He's going to be scaling up the Dragon Pulse Magician and the Dragon Pit Magician, which is actually going to let him activate the Dragon Pit Magician's effect. Once per turn, if you have a Magician card in your other Pendulum zone, you can discard one Pendulum monster, then target one spell or trap on the field and destroy it. He's going after the back row. He's going to be destroying the Lost Winds. We see the Pendulum scales coming up to summon Timaeus, the United Dragon. However, we do note here that it was a small misplay considering that Timaeus is a level 8 monster and his scales only let him Pendulum summon up to level 7s. We do try and catch as much as possible while we can, but unfortunately we can't catch everything. And he's going to be summoning the Chocolate Magician Girl, making her first appearance. He's going to activate her effect. Once per turn, he can discard a Spellcaster monster to draw one card. It looks like he's getting rid of a Red Eyes monster that he had in his hand, but he's quickly going to be activating the Agdoidic Origin, a very powerful field spell, which reads, if a face-up monster you control is destroyed by battle or an opponent's card effect, you can target one card your opponent controls, send it to the graveyard. If this card in the field zone is destroyed by your opponent's card effect, you can send cards from the top of your opponent's deck to the graveyard equal to the number of monsters with different names in your graveyard. Wow, now that is one heavy card to maneuver around, because whatever you do, you're going to be paying for it. Looks like we're passing it over to John, and he summons Magician's Rod. When this card is normal summoned, he can add one spell or trap from the deck to the hand that specifically lists Dark Magician in its text. He's going to be adding the signature Dark Magical Circle, activating it, which lets him look at the top 3 cards of the deck. Then, if he reveals a Dark Magician or a spell or trap that specifically lists the Dark Magician in its text among them, he can add it to the hand and also place the remaining cards on top of the deck in any order. Also, if Dark Magician is normal or special summoned to the field, except during the damage step, you can target one card your opponent controls and banishes it. And it does not look like he picked up anything Dark Magician related, but he does at least get to however get to put them back in any order, so at least he knows what to expect in the following turns. Okay, looks like John is looking for an opportunity to fusion summon here using Timaeus, and yes, doing exactly that, using Timaeus' effect to fusion summon from the extra deck using monsters from the hand or field as material. He's going to be using the Magician's Rod and the Treasure Panda in his hand to fusion summon the Dragon Necro, Nether Soul Dragon. However, Marco does have a response on the summon. Warning point: when a monster is summoned this turn, that face-up monster cannot attack. Its effects are negated. Also, it cannot be used for material for a fusion, synchro, XYZ, or link summon. Alright, so he's gonna at least freeze that Draco Necro for a whole turn. Definitely keeps John from creating those dark Nether Soul tokens. We're gonna see Timaeus attack the Chocolate Magician Girl. However, Chocolate Magician Girl has a very strong effect here. Once she's targeted for an attack, you can target a monster in your graveyard, special summon it, change the attack target to that monster, and if you do, the attacking monster's attack becomes half half its current attack. Now I'm not sure if John didn't get a chance to read that, but my goodness, is that powerful. Yes, look at him. He even has to reread it again. He's like, what is going on here? Oh, hold on. It's like John is going to activate Dimension Guardian to at least keep Tamiya's from being destroyed by that battle. Regardless, looks like Senko is going to be coming out of that graveyard onto the field. Alright. Now this is one interesting game. Despite John having some very powerful monsters, it looks like Marco has a bit of an attack lock here, which is really keeping John from getting through these defenses. Alright, looks like Marco's going to be going to the battle phase and attacking Tamiya's with Senko, because even though he can't be destroyed by battle because of the Dimension Guardian, that halving of the attack points is permanent from Chocolate Magician Girl. So he's going to be taking a little bit of damage here, courtesy of the Magician Girls. We're going to pass it over to John here. Looks like John is going to attack with his Draco Negro into Senko. Even though Draco Negro doesn't destroy by battle, he does get to create some very strong Dark Soul tokens, which allow them to destroy those monsters. Yep, Senko goes down. However, the Ogdoadic origin triggers. So face-up monster was destroyed by battle, so now Marco gets to target a card he controls and sends it straight to the graveyard, and there goes the Draco Negro into the grave. Oof, that field spell is very dangerous because if you forget about it, it's gonna come back to bite you, as John just saw right now. We're gonna pass over to Marco. He's contemplating on his plays here. Looks like he is going to use Chocolate Magician Girl's effect to discard a monster and let him draw a card. And then it looks like he might have drawn a Mirror Force. Oh no, what's going to happen? Sets into the back row, passes it over to John. John is in a bit of a difficult position here, considering that there's a bit of an attack lock. And yes, he just sets one more in the back row, passes it back to Marco. It looks like Marco might have drawn something quite interesting here. And it looks like he might have drawn a Buster Blader here. Okay. Oh, what are we seeing here? Are we seeing a tribute summon? Yes. For the one, Todoroki, the Earthbolt Star, who has a very unique effect. During the battle phase, he can pay 500 life points to fusion summon from the extra deck, using monsters from the hand and field as material. And we're going to see exactly that, allowing him to fuse with the Buster Blader in his hand to bring out Buster Blader, the Dragon Destroyer Swordsman. Now that is a beast right there, which reads, must be fusion summoned and cannot be special summoned by other ways. This card cannot attack directly. This card gains 1000 attack and defense for each monster your opponent controls or is in their graveyard. Change all monsters your opponent controls to defense position. Also, monsters in your opponent's possession cannot activate their effects. If this card attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing damage to your opponent. So that is one fail swoop. But does John have an answer? Yes, he does. Enma's Judgment. When your opponent special summons a monster, destroy it. It doesn't get any simpler than that, boys. Buster Blader is out of here. He cannot let that attack go through. Not one. However, Ogdoadic Origin triggers once again after the destruction of Buster Blader, letting him destroy one more card in John's field. And it looks like he's gonna go after the Dark Magical Circle. Yep, there it goes. Looks like Marco's gonna pass it over to John. It looks like he's gonna be summoning Exodia, the Forbidden One. At least just ahead. But he ain't done just yet. Nope. Looks like he's gonna be activating Fusion Substitute, letting him fusion summon from the extra deck using monsters he controls. He's gonna be fusing Exodia and Tamiya's into Ignition Beast, Volcanon. So when this card is fusion summoned, you can target one monster your opponent controls, destroy that target, also destroy this card. Then, if both monsters were destroyed, Inflict damage to your opponent equal to the attack of the monster in the graveyard that was targeted by this effect. That is definitely one way to get rid of that chocolate magician girl, because he cannot attack it. And there it is again, a duelists origin, triggering one more time after the destruction of chocolate magician girl, letting him destroy one more card in John's field. He's going after that dark soul token. Looks like John is going to be activating Fusion Substitute's graveyard effect. By banishing the card from the graveyard, he can target one fusion monster in the graveyard, return to the extra deck, then he draws one card. That's definitely one way to be resourceful. Let's see what he drew into. And he draws Last Will! So if a monster on his side of the field was sent to the graveyard this turn, he can special summon one monster with the attack of 1500 points or less from the deck. And don't forget, it reminds you, you gotta shuffle your deck afterwards, okay? Don't be forgetting to resolve your cards to the fullest. You just gotta love this old text here. Okay, looks like he finds Planet Finder, maybe looking to tribute it off for his own field spell, because Marco has definitely been biting back with that Ogdoadic Serpent Strike. Looks like he's gonna attack directly and just pass it back to Marco. Okay, Marco draws, but unfortunately it does not look like he has a monster to summon. He sets one in the back row and passes it back to John. John's gonna attack directly with Pathfinder, and it looks like he's gonna activate Soul Servant. So he's gonna place one card on top of the deck from his hand, deck, or graveyard that is Dark Magician, or specifically lists Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl in its text, except itself. During the main phase, you can banish this card from the graveyard, draw cards equal to the number of Palladium monsters. He's gonna attack you believe is gonna end up triggering, yes, the Magic Karibo. For the Magic Karibo! Very nice. Alright, he passes it back to Marco, and it does look like he drew a monster. Hopefully it's a playable one here. Looking at the grave, and he summons Red Eyes Retro Dragon. 1700, good enough. Attacks over the Pathfinder, and I believe he passes it back to John. So we are in a bit of a top deck war right here. Passes it back to Marco. He's gonna draw, and it looks like we're moving into the battle phase. Since John took damage from the battle, Magic Karibo can be sent from the hand to the graveyard to summon the ultimate wizard in terms of attack and defense, the Dark Magician. You just gotta love to see these monsters duke it out. Red Eyes versus Dark Magician, the way it was intended to. Who will come out victorious? We're gonna see the turn be passed over to John here, and he's gonna start it off by banishing Soul Servant. Now that he has Dark Magician on the field, he can banish it from the graveyard to draw one card. Hopefully he drew something to help him push forward. And he did! He's gonna summon out Magical Abductor onto the field, but he ain't done just yet. With the Spirit of Yugi, he activates Dark Magic Inheritance. He's gonna banish 2 spells from the graveyard and add 1 spell from the deck to the hand that specifically lists Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl in its text. And he's gonna go for the Eye of Timaeus. Oh boy, things are gonna get messy here. Okay, looks like Magical Abductor is gonna get 1 spell counter on her. And here we go. John is gonna activate that Eye of Timaeus, which lets him target a Dark Magician monster he controls. Fusion summons 1 fusion monster from the extra deck that lists that monster on the field as fusion material to bring out the Dark Magicians. Wow, now that was a play right there. Magical Abductor gets 1 more spell counter. Alright, we're moving to the battle phase. Dark Magician's attacks, but Marco is not somebody to underestimate. Storming Mirror Force. I tell you, even though John does get to trigger off the Dark Magicians to draw 1 card, everything is gonna get sent back into the hand. Oh, you see the scales. Alright, looks like John does still have at least the pendulum summoning out Magical Abductor. Passes it back to Marco. And let's see if Marco can capitalize after that beautiful Storming Mirror Force. Yes, he is. The warrior returning alive. Targeting his Berry Magician Girl. Alright. Adds it back to the hand. Summons it. triggers its effect to add another Magician Girl. Looks like Magical Abductor is going to get one more spell counter, and Apple Magician Girl gets added to the hand. Alright. Oh, wait, what are we seeing here? Are we seeing? Yes, the Contact Fusion into the Beast Eyes Pendulum Dragon, the first Contact Fusion of the draft series, which reads, must either be fusion summoned or special summoned by tributing the above cards you control, in which case you do not use polymerization and can be special summoned by other ways. If this card destroys a monster by battle, inflict damage to your opponent equal to its original attack of the beast type fusion monster used for its summon. So in this case, he is going to get to choose which monster he gets to inflict burn damage. Oh no, this might be looking a little bad for John. He attacks into the Magical Abductor, and yes, triggers off the Beast Eyes Pendulum Dragon, and yes, that's gonna end up burning him. Oh, but John ain't done just yet. He's not letting this go down like that. He's gonna trigger the Magic Karibo in the graveyard after the destruction of the Magical Abductor, adding it back to the hand. And he ain't done. No, he's not. Magic Karibo actually has a very unique effect here. So during the main or battle phase, if you took damage, it's not once you do, it's only if you did take damage. He's gonna activate it, send it to the graveyard, and summon back out the Dark Magician. He is back. He ain't done just yet. The spirit of Yugi prevails. Whew. This is a great game. We pass it back to John, and John draws Summoner's Art. He's gonna add a 1 level 5 or higher normal monster, but I believe he has no more targets. Oh no! Oh. And Dark Magician is just not strong enough. The Beast-Eyes Pendulum Dragon is just, it's too much. It is too much. Into the winner, the first game goes to Marco. Oh boy, let me tell you guys, now that was an impressive game on both of their parts. Not only did they use all of their resources, but boy, was it a stalemate at one point, just going back and forth between the both. Alright, on to the next game, guys. Marco's gonna start this off by summoning the Predaplant Spider Orchid. So during the end phase, if this card was normal or special summoned, you can discard a monster and add a level 4 or lower monster from the deck to the hand. Alright, just a little bit of resources here. But he ain't done. Marco's gonna activate the Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon. So during the end phase, he can destroy this card, and if he does, he adds one pendulum monster with 1500 or less attack from the deck to the hand. So he'll be passing turn, he's going to be getting 2 searches here. Even though we don't get to see pendulums very often, it's always great to see when people gravitate towards them. And he's going to be adding Pendulum Moon. And Predaplant Spider Orchid is going to trigger here. He's going to discard the Buster Blader and add All Reliable Berry Magician Girl. Yes, there she is. In all her little glory. Alright, looks like Mark is going to pass it over to John. John draws, and we're going to start this off with Xenoground. He's going to add 1 tuner or 1 normal monster, and then destroy a card in the hand. And he's going to add All Reliable Dark Magician. Okay, it looks like he's getting rid of the Eye of Timaeus here. He's going out for 1 more search, Summoner's Art. Yes, the Dragon Pit. Oh, he's actually banishing the Ground Xeno to fuse the Dark Magician and the Dragon Pit Magician into the Dark Magicians. Alright, we're getting well underway, straight into it. Sets 2 in the back row and passes it. Oh yeah, I think he forgot to attack. Yeah, you gotta love the sportsmanship here, right? Yeah, we already knew he was gonna attack, so we're good. Alright, Marco's turn. Berry Magician Girl onto the field. On her summon, we're gonna be searching out for, yes, the Chocolate Magician Girl. We already saw how devastating this small little combo can be here. But we're gonna see a little pendulum action. Alright, we're gonna see a scale here from Pendulum Moon, which is gonna trigger the Dark Magicians. Basically, once per turn, he gets to draw a card if a spell or trap is activated. Next up, we're going to see Starry Night Ceremony, a continuous spell. During the main phase, you can reveal one monster in your hand, and if you do, add one level 7 monster from the deck to the hand, then place that revealed monster at the bottom of the deck. If your opponent activates a card or effect, you can special summon one level 7 monster from your hand. Alright, you gotta love this level 7 support, I'm telling you. Alright, looks like he's gonna actually be revealing the Chocolate Magician Girl for Senko. Marco's gonna scale up the Odd Eyes Arc Pendulum Dragon, and we see those scales popping up. We know exactly what's coming. Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon in defense mode. A very nice constant defender. And that's actually gonna trigger Senko. Yes! If a monster is normal or special summoned to the field, he specials himself right out of the hand. But John is not gonna let that happen with Torrential Tribute. Oh, but he chains Dimension Guardian to protect his own Dark Magicians. Oh my goodness, was that a blowout. Ooh, you gotta love to see it. The destruction, but Marco's not done. Dragon's Mirror is gonna let him fusion summon from the extra deck by banishing materials listed on it from the field or graveyard. He's gonna banish Buster Blader and Senko, the Skybolt Star, to bring out Buster Blader, the Dragon Destroyer Swordsman. Marco is not out of this game just yet. So, Buster Blader is gonna put the Dark Magicians into defense mode. Now remember, this card gains 1,000 attack and defense for each monster in either player's grave and on their field. That is going to be dealing some very heavy damage, some very scary damage, and I'm not sure what John can do about it at this moment. John has to think very hard about this because Buster Blader is going to negate any effect that comes out on the field. And John calls it a wrap. The Buster Blader was too much, and the winner is Marco. Ooh, guys, these have been some great games. I'm telling you, huge shout outs to both John and Marco for not only using their cards to their fullest potential, but literally embodying the spirit of Yugi, not just seeing the Dark Magicians, but the Buster Blader in their most powerful forms, I gotta say. But with all that being said, thank you guys again for watching, and we'll see you in the semifinals here. Marco, huge shout outs to you and to John. Thank you.